Hello dear students, welcome back to the zoology classes. And today's topic for the discussion is the next phylum, that is phylum Coelenterata. So the next discussion is regarding phylum Coelenterata. The organisms which comes under this phylum are called as cnidarians. So the members of this phylum are usually called, so these are called as coelenterates. So these are called as coelenterates usually. So how many species of organisms are present in this phylum means? Coelenterates contains are Coelenterata, phylum Coelenterata contains or it has around 9,000 species. So how many species of coelenterates are present means 9,000 species of coelenterates are present here. So let's discuss regarding the general characteristic features of these coelenterates now. So what are the general characteristic features of coelenterates? General characteristic features. So among the general characteristic features, the first point is regarding their habitat and then the habit. So with respect to habitat, the coelenterates are aquatic organisms. So these are the aquatic organisms. Aquatic means they live in water. So among the aquatic organisms, both marine forms as well as freshwater forms are available. Means so most of them are marine. Means most of the coelenterates live in the salt water or the sea water only. So they are marine. And few are freshwater forms. Very few coelenterates are freshwater forms. What is the example of that freshwater form? What is the example of the freshwater form then? So example of the freshwater form here is nothing but hydra. So you might have seen the hydra, right? That hydra is an freshwater coelenterate. And most of the coelenterates are the marine forms only. This is what with regard to their habitat. So they are exclusively, what is that one? Aquatic organisms only. And next, after the habitat, next point is regarding their habit. So habit of living. How do they live in such habitats means? See, the coelenterates with respect to their habitat, coelenterates are either solitary or colonial. What do you mean by solitary and what do you mean by colonial means? Solitary means they live individually. Or single. They live individually or single. The example is again the hydra only. Colonial means they live in groups. They live in group or association. Why they live in group or association means for nutrition, means gathering the food, and protection from the enemies. So in order to get protected from the enemies and as well as to absorb or to capture the nutrition, they live in groups. Such a form is called as colonial form. Example of this colonial form. Okay, example of this colonial form if you take means here. So you can take the example of Physalia here. Physalia. So this is what regarding with respect to the habitat as well as the habitat, one of the general characteristic feature of coelenterates. So let us discuss regarding the other characteristic features. Before that, make a note of these points now. So next general characteristic features are, which includes, what is the level of organization can be observed in the coelenterates. So level of organization level of organization in case of ciliate is, what level of organization can be observed in the ciliate? As per the previous discussion means, the level of organization is tissue level of organization is present. Tissue level of organization can be seen in case of ciliates. Means they do form the tissues by the grouping of cells which are performing the similar function, and they are sharing the common structure as well as the origin. Such cells group together to form a specialized structure, to form the specialized function. Those are called as tissues. So the ciliates possess a tissue level of organization. That is what the level of organization. Then what about body symmetry in ciliates? Which type of body symmetry can be seen in case of ciliate? Means, see, the ciliates, what type of body symmetry they possess? Means they possess a radial symmetry. What do you mean by radial symmetry? Any plane passing through the central axis of the body can divide it into two equal halves or the two identical halves. Such a symmetry is called as a radial symmetry. So here the ciliates possess radial symmetry. So they are said to be radially symmetric. So body symmetry, ciliates are radially symmetric. So these are radially symmetric organisms. Why? Because any plane passing through the central axis of the body can divide into two equal halves. Next, after the body symmetry, level of organization, habitat, then what about coelom? Any coelom is present means here means there is no concept of coelom can be seen in case of ciliates. Okay. So this is what regarding the body symmetry and then the level of organization and habitat. The next is regarding what about the various type of means the body wall are how many germinal layers will be present in these ciliates means. So with respect to the germinal layers, these are the diploblastic animals. So next, with respect to germinal layers, so ciliates are diploblastic. What do you mean by diploblastic? Means they contain two germinal layers. What are those germinal layers? Nothing but here the one is ectoderm, the another one is endoderm, and then the endoderm. So only the ciliates are diploblastic in nature. So when they are diploblastic in nature, what will be the nature of their body wall, or what are the layers will be present in its body wall means. So in ciliates, the body wall is made up of two layers which are derived from the ectoderm and then endoderm here. So body wall, it consists of two layers. What are those two layers? That is, the outer one is called as outer is epidermis, and the inner wall is called as gastrodermis. Outer one is epidermis. This epidermis is formed by which is derived from ectoderm. This one is derived from the ectoderm, and gastrodermis is derived from endoderm, and here the mesoderm is absent. So only these organisms are diploblastic organisms. This is with respect to the body wall. Okay. So in this body wall only, particularly in case of epidermis, the totipotent cells are present. Those totipotent cells in the ciliates are nothing but interstitial cells. Okay. So here the epidermis contains so many type of cells in which among those cells interstitial cells so these are totipotent in nature. What do you mean by totipotent? So these are totipotent in nature, means these cells are capable, they have the capability or ability to give rise to any other type of the cells of the body. Like what you observed in the sponges, that is archaeocytes are totipotent in nature, right? So among the ciliates, which are the totipotent cell, means those are nothing but interstitial cells. Interstitial cells are totipotent in nature in the ciliates. Make a note of these points now. So next one is digestive system. So with respect to the digestive system, the ciliates have incomplete digestive system, they have only one opening called mouth. The one opening which is called as a mouth. Where this mouth is present and where it opens means this mouth which is present on, this one is present on hypostome. Then what do you mean by hypostome? Hypostome andre enu? Hypostome is nothing but the slightly elevated form at the one free end of the body. Means these ciliates are having a free end and then the other end which is attached to the solid surface, right? So the one which is free, which is not attached to the any other substratum, at that end there will be an opening present. That opening called as mouth, and before the mouth an elevation present in its body, that is called as a hypostome. So what do you mean by hypostome? So here hypostome means a conical elevation at free end of body, of ciliate, that is called as a hypostome. Over that hypostome only there is the presence of the mouth, and the mouth opens into such mouth which opens into a central, a large cavity. This central large cavity is called as, gastrovascular cavity, Why it is called as gastrovascular cavity? Gastro refers to stomach and here vascular refers to the circulatory system. So it is called as gastrovascular cavity as it helps in digestion, as well as it helps in the digestion, it is an gastral cavity. So and also in circulation of materials or substances in a body, so it forms the circulatory part also. So it is gastrovascular cavity. So the large cavity present in the ciliate is called as gastrovascular cavity. Then how the digestion takes place here, and is the only one opening present outside of the body of the ciliate, means what that only one opening means, that is mouth only. With this regard we can say that these are having incomplete digestive system. But in order to be called as a incomplete digestive system, there is no organ system present in the ciliate, so that we are not going to mention as a incomplete digestive system. Only one opening is present outside the body here in ciliates. And what about the nature of digestion means? So here the digestion occurs initially, means at the beginning digestion occurs in gastrovascular cavity, only. So this type of digestion is called as extracellular, and later, okay, fragmented food particles taken inside cells, taken into the body cells and digested, further digested inside the cells. So such a digestion is called as intracellular digestion. Intra means within, intracellular means within the cells digestion takes place. So what type of digestion takes place in case of coelenterate here? So in coelenterate, digestion is extracellular first and intracellular later. This line is very important for the aspect of NEET and CET examination. What is the nature of digestion in the coelenterate means? It is extracellular first, intracellular later. So according to the digestive system of the coelentrates here, it has only one opening outside to the body, that is mouth only, which opens into a large cavity called as gastrovascular cavity, where the initial digestion takes place. Later that fragmented food particles or the smaller food particles will be taken inside the cells, and within the cells again the further digestion takes place, or the final digestion takes place. So digestion is extracellular first and intracellular later. Make a note of this point now. A special property of coelenterate is they have a specialized cells in their tentacles as well as the body. Those specialized cells are called as nidoblast. Due to the presence of these cells only, nidoblast. So where these nidoblasts are present? Nidoblasts in tentacles are nothing but here the projections of the finger-like projections which are present over the hypostome and the mouth. So tentacles and the body. So over the body and tentacles, nidoblasts are present. Because of the presence of these nidoblasts over the tentacles and the body, coelenterates are also called as, so these are also called as cnidarians. So phylum Coelenterata is also called as phylum Cnidaria, and coelenterates are called as cnidarians due to the presence of specialized structures in their body as well as the tentacles. They are nothing but the nidoblast. So what these nidoblasts are then? So these nidoblasts are oval shaped shells. So these are oval shaped cells. Contains or bears nucleus at base. So in them nucleus will be present at basal side, okay, and bears the presence of a specialized structure in them, what they are called as means nematocyst. Presence of nematocyst which is filled with, this nematocyst is filled with poisonous fluid, and what that poisonous fluid is called as means poisonous fluid. Such poisonous fluid is called as hypnotoxin. So this poisonous fluid is called as hypnotoxin. So name the poison or the toxin which is present in the nidoblast or the nematocyst of the nidoblast in the coelenterate means that is hypnotoxin. So nematocysts are present within the nidoblast, and nidoblasts are the specialized structures which are present in the coelenterates tentacles as well as the body. So what is the use of the presence of these nidoblast and what are the functions of these nidoblast? Let us learn regarding their functions as well as the structure now. See, this is what the diagram which represents the nidoblast. Here the nidoblasts are the oval shaped cells which contains nucleus at base. So nucleus is present at base. So here the nucleus will be present, right? So this is what the nucleus is. Within such cells there is a presence of a stinging cell, what is called as, these are called as nematocyte. This is filled with the poison here. So here poison will be present. And that nematocyst consists of the tube, and this tube is called as a thread tube. This is called as a thread tube. So this is the thread tube. Its base is called as shaft or butt. The base is called as a shaft or the butt, which contains the spines, in order to hurt the prey or the parasite, prey or the predator organism. So this is what the thread tube which is discharged. So discharged thread tube, right? Here the thread tube before discharge and that one is the thread tube after discharge. So here nidoblast, this is the nidoblast before or nidoblast with undischarged and discharged thread tube. And this is the diagram of the nidoblast with the discharged thread tube. So these are the two diagrams which represent nidoblast before the discharge of the thread tube and after the discharge of the thread tube. Here you may also see the presence of a spoke or the fiber like structures. What these are means? These structures are called as supporting fibers. These are nothing but the supporting fibers. These diagrams will not be asked for the PU examination. This is only for the NEET examination purpose only. And such a stinging cells or the nematocyst will also be attached to the base of the nidoblast with the help of thread-like structure. This thread-like structure is called as a lasso. And such thread tube is covered by means of a structure, and this is called as a lid, a covering lid. Nothing but it is called as operculum. This is called as operculum. So what do you mean by the operculum? Means the operculum is nothing but covering lid. Okay. Next is, here you can find the presence of an sensory structure. This structure is nothing but nidocyl. This is nothing but the nidocyl. So this is what regarding the structure of the nidoblast. In this discharge tube only there will be the presence of a fluid. What that fluid is called as? A toxic fluid called as hypnotoxin, or the poisonous fluid called as hypnotoxin will be present in that one. Okay. So let us see regarding the structures now. Base of the thread tube is called as shaft or the butt. And these thread tubes are held in its position when it is undischarged with the help of supporting fibers and then the lasso. And it is covered by means of the presence of lid which is called as operculum. At the neck of the thread tube there will be presence of spines in order to hurt the prey or the predator organism. Okay. So what are the uses of such nidoblast and Okay, how their discharge takes place from the nidocyl. Okay, what is the mechanism of discharge of these thread tubes or the nematocysts from the nidocyl? So, mechanism of discharge of what is that one? Nematocyst, which contains the what is that fluid? Hypnotoxin. See, sudden eversion of the thread tube occurs by change in the osmotic pressure. The first one. Discharge or eversion of thread tube. Discharge or eversion of thread tube is induced by, which one is induced by? Stimulus which is applied to nidocyl. What is the meaning of this one? Means when the prey or the predator come in contact with this nidocyl, if this nidocyl is pressed or if it come in contact with the prey or the predator, that acts as a sensory structure, and when it come in contact with the prey or the predator, that it initiates the release of this nematocyst. Then what happens? The change in osmotic pressure. So how the osmotic pressure takes place means by the sudden or more intake of the water. So the change in osmotic pressure that causes release of thread tube. Once the thread tube is discharged, it cannot be taken in. So once thread tube or nematocyst discharged, once it is discharged means cannot be taken in or cannot be withdrawn again. So it cannot be withdrawn. Once it is discharged out means it cannot be withdrawn again into that nidoblast. Such utilized or discharged nematocyst with nidoblast, they enter into the gastrovascular cavity and get destroyed there. Such discharged nematocyst with nidoblast enters in gastrovascular cavity. They enter into gastrovascular cavity and get destroyed, and whatever the nutrients are present in them, that will be utilized for the formation of the new nidoblast. Then what are the functions of these nidoblasts? That is very important for the aspect of PU examination also and NEET and CET also. Let's see what are the functions of these nidoblasts now. Okay. So these nidoblasts mainly helps in one is that is anchorage to help in locomotion. Means they help in attachment of the cylindrate to the solid support. That is called as anchorage. Means helps in the attachment of the body to the support during locomotion. That is one help. Second one is that one that help in capture of prey. The prey. Here the prey is nothing but the organism which can be captured and utilized as the food. That is called as prey. So capture of prey. Such a mechanism is called as offense. That is called as offense. Means it carry out the offense, means it attack on the other organism to eat that organism as the food or to utilize that organism as a food source. And also the paralyzing or killing, paralyze in order to kill or paralyze a predator. What do you mean by predator here? The predator is nothing but here the organism which tend to attack on this organism, or for example, if I am the one organism, if other organism try to attack on me, then that organism is called as a predator. Means if that other organism try to kill and eat my body parts as a food source, means then I will be the prey for that organism, and that organism is called as a predator for me. So like that, if any other organism will try to attack on these cylindroids, then they release or they everse the nidoblast, nothing but the nematocyst or the stinging cells, in order to pierce the thread tube and release the toxin called as hypnotoxin, either to paralyze that organism or kill that organism. So such a mechanism is called as a defense mechanism. Means here, in order to get protected from the predator also, the nidoblasts are used or the stinging cells are used, either to kill that predator or the paralyze that predator. So these are the functions of the nidoblast in cylindrids, and such nidoblast will be present in the tentacles of the body as well as the over the surface of the body. This is regarding the nidoblast. Then what are the skeletal system which is present in the cylindrids? What about skeleton system which is present in the cylindrids? The skeleton of cylindrid is made up of, particularly in some cylindrids such as corals. What do you mean by corals? Corals. In Kannada, it is called as havala anta karitare coral ge. So such corals tend to grow continuously and they form reefs. Those reefs are called as coral reefs near the seashore. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಮುದ್ರದ ದಂಡೆಗಳ ಹತ್ರ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಬಂಡೆಗಳ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇವು ಬೆಳೆದಿರ್ತವೆ ಹವಳಗಳು, ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಹವಳದ ದಂಡೆಗಳು ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So in English it is called as coral reefs. So such corals are made up of, or their skeleton is made up of, in some cylindrids such as the corals, their skeleton is made up of calcium carbonate, that is CaCO3, calcium carbonate. That is regarding their skeleton. Any doubt in this one? Okay. Next here, in cylindrids, the body form exists in two different forms in some of the cylindrid. So the cylindrid exhibit polymorphism also. So what are the body form in case of cylindrids? There are two type of body plans are present in case of cylindrids. What are those two type of body plans? Means the two types of body plans or body forms present. What are those two type of body forms? Means that is polyp form and then medusa form. What do you mean by polyp form? Means the polyp form is nothing but cylindrical form. This is nothing but the cylindrical form, that is called as polyp. Medusa form is nothing but umbrella shaped form. So medusa is umbrella shaped. Okay. So with respect to the body form, cylindrids exhibit a phenomena called as metagenesis. About that metagenesis and remaining features of the cylindrids and their classification we will discuss in the next class. Thank you.